everybody, welcome to yet another video. This one is on the, now I always used to struggle with the name and I always used to say Meiji or Meiji or something like that, but it's actually supposed to be said Meiji. So it's the Meiji 1.3 finer core. Now they do this in a 1.5 and a 1.3, and they also do a HVLP version in 1.5 and 1.3. So I'll put a link in the description where you see me using it in 1.5 HVLP. But the transfer efficiency of the non-HVLP isn't as good as you probably expect, isn't as good as the HVLP version, but it's still very, very good. I just noticed it uses a little bit more material than the HVLP version. But this little gun, and I say little because it's classed as a full-size gun, but physically it's quite small. It's between it's more like the size of a midi gun rather than a mini gun or a full-size gun, but it pumps out like a full-size gun, so it's ideal if you're in smaller situations. But you'll see the size of the fan. It's got a huge fan on it for the size of the gun, and it's superb quality. It's really, really well made. Now if you watch any of my other Meiji videos, you'll see that I rave about the build quality, and the build quality is exceptional. I mean, I've used most makes of spray gun, and I can honestly say that I think these are the best made spray guns you can get. A couple of them you sort of think, well, maybe it's not quite as well as made as the other, and I don't mean of the same type. I mean, you know, some of the older ones maybe not as well made as some of the newer ones, but as a general rule you really can't go wrong with these as far as build quality is concerned. So that's top marks for build quality, and I always say it about these things, and you know, I'm not really proved wrong. I don't think nobody's ever said they've had problems with these things, not, you know, within a reasonable amount of time anyway, and you wouldn't expect it because they're made really well. But these guns, we're doing a few different panels, and we've also got a bike tank put in there, so the video's a reasonable length, so you'll be able to see it on different things. But we're using it for clear coat throughout, probably the normal way you would do it. Normally HVLP would be for base coat, and clear coat you would do through it's not given a designation, it's just called a 1.3 or a 1.5 with nothing after it. If you want a HVLP version, it's called a 1.3 or 1.5 HVLP, and that's just the way they designate it. So if you want the non-HVLP version, it's literally just a finer core 1.3, and that's it, or 1.5. They do it in 1.5 as well, and I have got the 1.5 version. Well, I say I've got the 1.5 version. You can swap the caps over to give you. All I've got is I've got two guns, but one's 1.5 and one's 1.3. The tip, to me, it looks exactly the same. The cap is different, but also the baffle behind the tip is different. So if you want to do like I do, if you want to have a true HVLP in 1.3 and 1.5, and you're going to get two guns, then well, I think it's best to get one of the normal, so just let's say a 1.3 and the 1.5 HVLP, and you can swap them over, but you need to swap that baffle over to get true HVLP. But I think you'll see during the course of this video, I mean, there's a final shot here, they really atomize finely. They haven't got a split tip. As far as I know, Iwata still has a pattern on that, but they don't seem to be wanting all that. They're a real cracking little gun. They're quite expensive. They're the most expensive of certainly of the Gravity Meiji range. So they are quite expensive. I get these from Painting Tools Japan, like most of this Japanese, well, all of this Japanese stuff, bar one, I think, I've got from Painting Tools Japan. So I know people often ask, so I'll put a link in the description. I do buy the guns. I'm not sponsored or anything, but they give me good service, and you know, I mention them because people ask. So I'll put a link in the description of where I got it from so that you can see. But coming back to the use of the guns, a really, really cracking gun. It's the same cup fitting as a GTI Pro Lite, which means it's also the same as the ANI R160, same as the ANI F200, etc. So if you've got a PPS adapter for any of those, then it will fit this. So you won't need to buy a different PPS adapter. Another thing you'll notice is the fluid it's a full, from no fluid being released to full fluid being released. It's a full 6 turns, so there's plenty of fine adjustment for the amount of fluid you want to come out. If you want to adjust it finely, I know you can adjust it with the amount of pressure on the trigger, but you can't always get it exactly right or how you want it or how you had it if you're trying to replicate something. So there's a really, really long range, so it makes it very easy to sort of like do very small adjustments if you're unsure or you want, good control over the fluid. So that's something I noticed and was really, really good. It's used at 2 bar. It's recommended to be used at 2 bar, and I use it at 2 bar, and it seems absolutely fine. I've seen absolutely no need to put it higher than that. You can experiment. It depends on the clear coat you're using. The thinner the clear coat, I think if you put the pressure too high, it will start to split the fan. But it just doesn't need it. I mean, you can see the finishes I'm getting with this. It's absolutely superb. It gives they say glass finish. Nothing gives a glass finish really, but this gives as near a glass finish as you'll probably get. Highly, highly recommended gun. One thing that's come to light about the mini range is that a lot of people, they see them and they're a bit hesitant to buy them because they're a less well-known make outside Japan. That they're a less well-known make than your Iwatas and your Satas and all the rest of them. But that isn't a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. They have started branching out. Now, I'm not sure the name of the company, but I think it's a French company, have taken over some distribution rights. Now, this could be absolute rubbish I'm talking here, but I saw it on Instagram. I follow them on Instagram. We're on Instagram, or I'm on Instagram as well. If you want to follow us, I'll put a link on the link's actually at the start, and I'll put a link in the description as well. But we're on Instagram as well. But I saw a post of theirs on Instagram, or a post that was linked to theirs on Instagram. And there's a French company that's been appointed as a distributor in Europe. So I think maybe things are changing and they are trying to get into Europe as well. And presumably the Americas, that will happen in the Americas, etc. But they're quite well known and quite well liked in Japan. But unless you sort of follow the Japanese painting scene, you probably wouldn't have heard of them, but they are a very, very good, renowned make of gun and really cracking. And you'll see the finishes that I get from these are absolutely superb. So definitely one to get if you're like me, you like your spray guns and you want to get a really good spray gun and you don't mind spending the money. And I say don't mind spending the money because I think I can't remember how much I paid for this because I buy a few guns at a time and that tends to save on the postage. But I think they're around about, they've actually gone up as well. I know they've gone up. But they're around about 350 GB pounds. That could have changed. It depends on the exchange rate as well because that changes all the time. But they're around about 350 GB pounds with a cup. And that's not particularly expensive these days. When you've got things like the Iwatas turning up, the Series 2s turning up at like 550, 600 pound, which is, I don't know what they are in the US, but the equivalent in US money is about 750, 800 US dollars, which is about what's that, about €850, something like that. So they're cheap, aren't they? Really, when you look at it in a clear light of day, when you're seeing some of these new guns coming out at silly money, these things aren't that expensive and they perform just as well. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say they perform better, but they certainly perform just as well. And if you're looking at £350 or £360 or whatever they are, they've probably gone up a bit, but they're still much cheaper than some of the new spray guns coming out. The SATAs, the X5500s, they're all really expensive. Physically, they're bigger guns as well. So as I was saying before, if you like a smaller gun, but it's still got a good fan, this thing is absolutely ideal. I mean, I really enjoy using them. I can't sing their praises high enough, really. And one of the things that sways me, being someone that is into engineering or in engineering, you sort of appreciate the build quality of these things, and they are absolutely exceptional. So, yeah, highly recommended spray guns. You can see the finishes you're getting with these, really good flat finishes. All these are with a U-pole clear coat as well. Now, people that watch my videos or are familiar with the U-pole clear coat know the U-pole clear coat likes to be put on quite heavy because it doesn't flow very well. One of the drawbacks with a cheaper clear coat you'll find is that they don't flow out so well, but you can compensate for that by putting more of the product on. Obviously you don't go excessively because you could get runs or solvent pop or whatever, but once you get used to using a product like I'm used to using the U-pole, you know how much it needs on. But you could get away with using less of a better quality clear coat, one that flows out better, because you'd be able to put less on and move a bit faster. They do this in 1.5. I think I mentioned they do this in 1.5, and I've got the 1.5, and it's not too much. In 1.5, it's actually it just makes it a faster gun. So if you like your guns fast, it's absolutely superb in 1.5, and it's not too fast for clear coat. As I say, for base coat, they maybe just put out a little bit too much material, but the HVLP is more suited for that anyway, and puts out less material, and saves material as well. The HVLP you can use for clear coat as well. I think in my other video I used it for clear coat as well, and it produced perfect results. Very happy with it. So somebody was saying the other day on one of the videos that there's not many guns I dislike. And there's not really, because there's not many bad guns. You can get a reasonable finish with most guns these days, but this thing is absolutely exceptional. So highly recommended. And so I'll put a link in the description where I got it, because you probably won't find it at your local dealer unless you're Asia somewhere. Okay then guys, well thanks for watching the videos. If you like what you're seeing and what you're hearing, then maybe give us a thumbs up and give us a subscription if you feel like it. It just helps move us up the rankings on YouTube, so that when people search for things, the videos come up. And I just like people watching the videos, really. Anyway guys, as I say, thanks for watching the videos as always. Sorry I've rabbited on a bit, but that's me. If you watch the videos you'll know that's me. Alright then guys, thanks for watching as always. Cheers, take care, bye bye.